Good morning po, and thank you for having me, and good morning to all your viewers. Yes, the moment the 10 shooters came in, the victims' families and the other victims of yung frustrated murder also burst in tears. They were emotional, and some of the victims there, yung mga frustrated murder victims, wanted to physically harm also or hurt the 10 shooters, but we prevailed upon them. And the panel of prosecutors just decided to bring the 10 shooters to another room to separate them from the victims and complainants. Well, I explained to them beforehand that Arnie Teves is not expected to come because we all know that he is abroad and could not physically attend the preliminary investigation hearing. Although I surmise that a lawyer at least will represent him, but none came. And there was an issue about the service of summons from our side to make sure that the requirements of due process are observed. So according to the panel of prosecutors, an NBI agent personally delivered the subpoena together with the attached documents at the residence of Congressman Teves in Bayawan City. And the same copy was also served at his office in the House of Representatives. Yeah, well, Topacio is not the counsel on record in these cases. And definitely, subpoena will not be served upon him or through him. So the subpoena was served at the last known address or residence of Congressman Teves in Bayawan City. And another, excuse me, I'm sorry. And another one was served at the House of Representatives. Of course, it is obvious that Congressman Teves wants to evade the processes of the law. And as long as the panel of prosecutors observe the rules in the service of subpoenas, that would be enough. And in fact, one of my co-counsel even requested the panel of prosecutors to be extra zealous in the service of summons. But I opined that the panel of prosecutors cannot appear to be overzealous because they may also become, they will have a negative, the public will have a negative perception on that. So I said, it is enough that we observe the rules. Okay, upon their reception to the NBI custodial facility, buccal swabs were extracted or taken from all these suspects, the 10 shooters. And then, during the investigation at the crime scene, the investigators also extracted DNA samples from certain items left in the vehicles they used, and also from the blood droplets in the crime scene. Because I think there were 2 shooters who also sustained gunshot wounds. And positive DNA match were found in the 4 shooters, namely Judiel Rivero or alias Osmundo Rivero, Antipolo,
Antipolo Jr.
Yes, Gonyon Jr. and I'm sorry, I forgot the other name.
So
Well, the taking of buccal swabs does not need a court order nor the consent of the person. Unlike in handwriting, when the question is about handwriting, there is an operation of the mind, and that is what is prohibited by our rules. But the taking of the extraction of DNA samples is not prohibited. And second, the other DNA samples were taken by the investigators from certain items left in the vehicles, like the mineral water bottle and the Pocari Sweat bottle. They took DNA sample from the lid of the opening of those bottles, and also from the droplets left in the compound, in the crime scene. And this matched with the buccal swab sample taken from the shooters themselves. And in the analysis of the NBI, the only exception for the match if they have twin brothers. Pero we know that they do not have. And we know that is science, that is DNA analysis, and it is 99.9% accurate. Osmundo or Judiel Rivero sustained a gunshot wound at his back, buttocks. And in fact, that was the reason why he had to approach the policemen conducting checkpoints, because he can no longer evade. He cannot sustain the evasive moves that the others undertook. And he can hardly walk at that time. And second, I think this tourist also sustained a gunshot wound in the crime scene, no? So I think, during trial, they can refute that. And also, we can prove our claim. And aside from that, sir, aside from the DNA analysis result, placing them in the crime scene, we also have eyewitnesses who were able to recognize them after the DILG secretary presented to the public their profiles, their pictures, no? Kasi the witnesses claimed that during the shootout, their face mask was pulled down already below the mouth. So they can positively identify the shooters. We will submit this affidavit, sir, within the next few days, because two of our witnesses are still in the hospital.
I see.
And the other one appeared yesterday, but he was not one of those subpoenaed by the panel of prosecutors. Yes, sir. We have 4 statements to that effect. Yes, sir. Our juries on the matter says that recantations are highly untrustworthy and unreliable. And with this DNA analysis result, we can positively prove that they were present at the crime scene. And on top of that, we have eyewitnesses who were able to identify them, know their faces, and the moment their images were flashed in the screen by Secretary Benhar Abalos, then they said, oh, ito yung kilala ko ito. Ito yung nag-finish, no? Rivero was the one who delivered the coup de grace on Governor Degamo, because after the first burst of gunfire, the governor already sustained gunshot wounds, but was still alive. And the shooters left the place, but before Osmundo was able to exit the gate, he heard the governor shouting for help, and he went back and delivered the coup de grace, as we say. And one of the witness who was beside the governor pretended to be dead, and he saw the face of Osmundo, sir, and also Isturiz, because Isturiz assaulted the governor on the front side, while Osmundo assaulted the governor on the governor's right side.
I see.
And they were just steps away from the governor. So this witness was able to recognize them. And also we have witnesses near the gate, sir, no? And as I said, at least 4 of the shooters were positively identified. Sir, for the 3 murder cases that we filed, these are the previous killings, no? Prior to the Degamo killing. So we filed multiple murder cases against Congressman Teves for the murder of Dungog, Libron, and Bato. And the prosecution, the defense, instead of filing a counter affidavit, filed a motion to dismiss. And we argued that that should be taken as their response to the complaint. And according to their motion to dismiss, they argue that since there is only one eyewitness, that is not enough. That's their argument. But we argued that a single witness is enough as long as his testimony is straightforward, believable, and credible. And I think the resolution in those complaints will be forthcoming by next month, no? And the cases will be filed in court by next month. But excuse me, what is important for us is the terrorism case. It is moving forward, and in all of these cases, sir, I think by September we will have warrants of arrest against Congressman Teves and his cohorts for terrorism, multiple murder cases, and including the Negros Oriental massacre. By September, we will have warrants of arrest against them.